We're always told that hard work pays off. But what if I told you that in the eyes of the law, sometimes all your effort, all that grind, is worth, well, nothing? Copyright is supposed to be the legal right to control your own creative work, but there's a really surprising line it draws between pure effort and the kind of creativity it actually protects. Today, we're going to find out exactly where that line is. So let's imagine this. You've spent weeks, maybe even months, just painstakingly gathering data, organizing facts, and creating this massive, valuable list. It's your work, right? It's your effort. So legally, is it yours to protect? Well, the answer comes from a pretty surprising legal battle that all started with something we've all seen before, a TV guide. And look, this isn't just some hypothetical question. It was the central issue in a real-world legal showdown over a weekly TV schedule. In this case, it would totally change the game for creators everywhere. Okay, so on one side of the ring, you've got Nine Network, a huge Australian broadcaster that puts together its weekly TV schedule. And on the other side, you have ICE TV, an electronic TV guide service that, really needs that schedule information to run its business. The whole conflict was actually pretty simple. ICE TV took Nine Network's weekly schedules and published them in its own guide. So naturally, Nine Network sued for copyright infringement. But this case, which seems so straightforward, actually raised a much, much bigger question. And this was the million-dollar question that ended up in front of Australia's High Court. I mean, a TV schedule is just a list of facts, right? You got show titles, times, channels. Can you really own the copyright on a simple collection of facts? Well, the court's decision was a huge departure from a long-held idea about what copyright is supposed to do. It was a ruling that ended up having massive ripple effects for creators and innovators. See, for years, there was this thing called the sweat of the brow doctrine, and it basically meant that if you just put in enough hard work to collect a bunch of information, that labor, the sweat itself, was enough to earn you a copyright. It was a system that rewarded you just for working hard, not necessarily for being clever or creative. But in its 2009 ruling, the High Court completely rejected that idea. They stated it loud and clear. The sweat of just collecting facts was officially, flat out, not enough to get copyright protection in Australia anymore. So the court replaced that sweat of the brow standard with a much higher bar: intellectual effort. It's no longer about how hard you work, it's about the creative skill and judgment you actually apply to that work. So what in the world does this new creativity standard actually mean in practice? Let's break down what the court really meant by intellectual effort. Okay, so the court said the work has to come from your own creative mind. You can't just be a robot, mechanically typing up a list. For something like a database or a TV guide, you have to show some kind of creative spark in how you select or arrange the information. Just listing things alphabetically or chronologically, yeah, that's probably not going to be enough. Here's a really simple way to think about it. Step 1. The act of just gathering the facts, like TV show times, that's not protected. That's the sweat. Step 2. Applying your own creative skill to express those facts in a unique way. That is what's protected. So here it is, the bottom line. Copyright doesn't give you ownership over raw information. It protects your unique creative expression of that information. The facts themselves are free for everyone to use. Your original take on them is not. It means your curated list of the best movies might be protected, but a simple list of all the movie titles? Probably not. Now, keep in mind, this ruling was from 2009. Today, we've got AI that can compile, arrange, and even create things at a scale we couldn't even have imagined back then. So it leaves us with this huge question for the future. When an algorithm is doing the work, where is the author's creative skill? Does our very definition of creativity need a massive update?